Welcome to USAFBL Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Brandon Kehler, also known as Fidgety Digits FB 403 on Instagram. Brandon, thanks for coming on the podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, and thanks for having me. This is super exciting. I've been listening and watching lots, so it's cool to be on here.
Well, yeah, most definitely. For those that don't know, you are located all the way north. We're talking Canada north, like as far north as you can pretty much get for us, right?
Yeah, it's yeah. Like obviously, there's way norther in Canada, but considering it is snowy most of the time, it is cold most of the year, and yeah, still out in the boonies a bit. I live in the prairies kind of now. Grew up in the mountain areas, and yeah, I love it.
Right on. So I guess city, what province, I guess you are you located out of?
I'm in Strathmore, Alberta now, which is just outside of Calgary. And so I grew up in Calgary and then like just outside Calgary, but more towards the mountains, like west. And then lived back in the city for a few years, and then I moved out here about 10 years ago. And this is where I'll stay for as long as I can. I love it out here.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. So I guess it'd be safe to say that you are a person that makes little obstacles, little trinkets, you host events, like you kind of do a little bit of everything. And I guess you're heavily into art as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the artwork is probably like the biggest thing that I do, and probably what I'm like most known for in the fingerboarding space. Had some really cool opportunities this last couple of years to work with some really like up and coming brands, and then some already established like bigger brands, and then I got lots of balls rolling in different courts right now with a few different brands and stuff. But yeah, the artwork I started off basically doing uh, graphics for fingerboard companies. Main one that I do artwork for is your mom's favorite fingerboard. So Caden Overholt, he's the boss man there and like one of my best friends in the world. And we ended up meeting online because of fingerboarding stuff. He wanted a custom obstacle, and I was advertising. I was just started off. I was making custom obstacles, something different, and I made him a custom spot. And then after that, he was just like, man, you need to be part of whatever I'm doing. Let's figure something out. And then I told him that I had a really strong art background. I like went to Alberta High School of Fine Art. I did professional studio art, and I've done like commission artwork for people for like years. And I had kind of lost the spark for a few years. And talking with Aiden and doing the obstacles, he was like, "Hey, well, I need somebody to do graphics, and let's see what you got." So I sent him some old artwork that I had, and he was just like, "Yeah, I want you to be part of this project." And since then, that was about just over 2 years ago. Yeah, I've been able to do lots of graphics with them. We have tons of stuff on release still that's on its way to coming out. Through that, yeah, I've been able to do artwork, whether it's board graphics or logos, t-shirts for stickers, anything like that. I love doing it all, and all different mediums. I'm always trying to learn stuff new, and now I'm like a year into tattooing now, so trying to bring over the style I have for my artwork, like my original stuff, into the tattoos and vice versa. And yeah, it's always fun learning new stuff and meeting new people with it.
You're actually talking to a blank canvas. I have zero tattoos. I've always wanted tattoos. I wouldn't say like I'm a super religious person, but basically, you're not really kind of supposed to like desecrate the body. And so I've always been grown up to think that like tattoos were kind of bad. And I'm almost 40
Yeah,
now, and I feel like, I should definitely kind of tiptoe into the dark side a little bit.
you don't have to go big and stuff. You can start off really small and something nice, but it isn't for everyone. It is an acquired taste, and it hurts. Anyone who says it doesn't hurt is not telling you the truth, or they're
Okay.
using numbing cream. Numbing cream is a big thing. Oh, shout out to TKTX. They sponsored me for tattooing, and so I get numbing cream through them and stuff. So when I do I'm just starting to do a few clients here and there, and the ones that prefer it, yeah, I get to offer them the numbing stuff, or yeah, I can go on their website and Brandon 18, and yeah, get discount.
All right, so for someone like me who's looking for like a first tattoo, I'm thinking about doing a Majin, like Dragon Ball Z Majin, like on my wrist, maybe on like a white ink. I mean, like, would a wrist be like? Because the thing is, like, if you end up going like a full sleeve, like, I figure like I don't want something that's big in the middle. Then you have to like, like draw your whole like sleeve type thing around that one tattoo. I feel like, because I feel like I'm an addictive personality kind of person, so like if I get it and I like it, then it's like it's over. Like you'll never see me again. I'm just gonna be in the tattoo studio 24/7 for like a year.
It's addicting too. Like it's one of those things that like people like yourself that like aren't like in the community of it or haven't like experienced it. Once you start getting it, there's like a certain like adrenaline that or calmness that people get. Some people will get adrenaline and be hyped up and super excited, but me, it's the opposite. I get super calm and like I have the side of my head done and like my throat and all here, like my whole almost I'm almost covered, and I've fallen asleep getting numerous tattoos. It just calms me. But for somebody just diving into it, it's I think something like that on your wrist is would be perfect. My mom, she's an avid supporter of my artwork, and she wanted to be one of the first people I tattooed, and she ended up getting a nice bit of flowers on her wrist that wrapped around, and that was her first tattoo. And as somebody who hadn't experienced that. She had a great experience, wasn't too painful, wasn't a bad spot to start with. So I'd say that'd be a good idea, but I'd watch with the white ink because white ink is notoriously hard to get into any type of skin, and it's usually the last part that you would do on a tattoo. But white ink is just notoriously hard to use.
See, that's the tips that I'm looking for. I like that. So, no, I appreciate that. So, like, what if you're a seasoned tattoo vet? Like, you got someone that's got like, 10, 15 tattoos. Like, any tips or anything maybe that you could share or maybe they need to know at that point? Or you
Like I've lost count at this point. Like I stopped counting after 50. So I don't I guess like I'm in that category. But I would say if you're planning to get something, try not to be super spontaneous. Like I'm a really, really impulsive person. So if I'm like, oh, I want to get this on my throat, like I'm going to go do it right that day, which may not be the best thing for some people. But I have quite a few controversial tattoos as well that I've gotten on a whim. And I would say just, if you're going to want to get something, just try and pump the brakes and make sure that it's something that you're going to be happy with, and people aren't accepting out there as well. So I get looks from people all the time, mostly from the older people, but they like look at me like it's disgusting or like I'm this blasphemous person because I've like covered in tattoos, and I find it humorous, and I find I find joy in that. I don't know, I like it. But for some people, it can be a huge turnoff, or you could be getting a symbol that might mean you think means something, and it actually means something else. And I would say go slow, really think it out. Don't be impulsive, and yeah. Then on days, like make sure you've had something good to eat. You're nice and hydrated. Got some bag of candy with you. Sugar spikes are good because you can your blood sugar can drop. Yeah, your blood pressure can drop on tattoos like fairly often if you're not used to it as well. And your body is also going to be responding to a type of trauma that it's never experienced. And there's nothing quite like the feeling of a tattoo having it done. Like you try to explain to people like, oh, it's like this. I say the closest thing is probably getting burnt, but even then it's miles different. It's intense. It's intense though, but it can
interesting.
be addictive. You have that
Okay.
addictive personality. Once you get one, you'll be like, oh, well, what's stopping me from, doing that full sleeve instead? And then you get, yeah, people like me, and I just go gung ho and cover everything everywhere. And I've done a lot of my own tattoos as well. When I get the impulse, I don't necessarily have to go to the shop or spend a bunch of money. I have everything that a shop has. I have, and like I'm legally certified in Canada to do it as well.
All right. So shout out to you. Do you have a shop that you're working at or you own or a place that you
No,
actually do the tattoo stuff? Or how, like, if someone wanted to get a tap by you, like, how would they go about doing that?
just message me on Instagram, and figure something out. Right now, since I'm still like I just passed my first year mark, I don't like charging people by the hour and stuff because that's like a professional thing, and I'm still learning my timing with stuff. And if I probably take a little bit longer with my projects than what a seasoned person would. So usually I just say if you pay for the supplies and everything that I like the supplies and come over, we'll make a tattoo. And yeah, I'll get everything. I have like clean areas in my house that are sanitized up, and we cover everything in plastic. I got all the right armrests, all the medical stuff, everything. Everything except the client bed to lay on. Getting there though, but
Gotcha. No, that's cool
eventually
stuff.
one day I would love to have my own shop or something. But I got to limit how much I do everything because of my medical stuff as well. So that's where it really has put the brakes on things. So where I'd like to be tattooing every single day, I haven't tattooed in 3 months now because I have gnarly hernias and I can't lean over to do the tattooing. So I'm on a bit of a hiatus right now, but hopefully get that surgery out of the way, start feeling better, and get right back to it.
No, most definitely. So let's backtrack a little bit. So fingerboarding, skateboarding, I mean, which one came first?
Skateboarding definitely came first. I got my first skateboard when I was about 4. I remember being at a garage sale, seeing a yellow banana board, and just being like, I gotta have this thing. Took it home, loved it, and then my parents, yeah, just saw me just fall in love with this thing. And then I think it was probably around 10 years old is when I like started to get more seriously into skating, and I started covering the walls with posters and pictures and really learning like the technical, like the difference between fakie and nollie and switch and regular, and actually knowing there's a difference. And before that it's just watching cool dudes doing cool tricks on things, but it wasn't really relatable. And then when I got a little bit older and I like 10 or 11, I started getting better boards, better things, and I started to progress in skating. And it was a huge release for me mentally. I grew up pretty stressful environment, so skateboarding was always a really really good escape and an exit for me. And I find that the same thing with tattooing and skateboarding is that when you're doing it, it's really really hard to be thinking of anything else. Like when you're on your skateboard about to drop in, it's hard to think of anything but dropping in at that second because your body has to be engaged fully. And I find the same thing with tattooing because you want to hold yourself in the same position and all that. So um, it kind of gives me little escapes in life. And then yeah, the fingerboarding was just, I think, came along naturally. I think growing up, my sister actually started making fingerboard little things out of paper, and there were Alien Workshop little fingerboards out of paper, and she like just yeah, her and her friends made them. I think she must have been in grade 6, so I was probably in grade 4, and that was before tech decks were out. And then I think it was within a couple of years that start seeing weird boards come out and tech decks as well. But I think weird boards was probably the first set that I had, and yeah, it came in like a big thing with like a grinder box on the bottom, and then like a box on top, and some spines and a couple quarter pipes. Then you had 5 different boards with the weirdest graphics, but total 90s graphics that it definitely made an imprint on me and the things that I do with my artwork. I'm definitely like, you can look at my artwork and say like a definite 90s kid. It's very hey, Mike Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his style of drawing and stuff, and like I watched South Park when I was super little, so all those like really vulgar things, like in gross and funny jokes, like all came through my artwork really early. And with the fingerboarding, I've seen these graphics of like gross monsters was just like, oh, I just want to draw these and make my own graphics. But then saw Tech Deck coming out, and as soon as I saw those, it was like, oh, this is it. This is the coolest thing ever. And I've collected them for over 25 years now. They just had their 25-year ad, yes. So 25 years, I have hundreds and hundreds of them out of the package. And I have a store display in my studio, and it is completely overfilled. It's like one of the ones that goes to like 6 feet tall, and it is filled with packaged ones, and my walls are covered. And then um, I think around the time the pandemic hit is when I started carving my own fingerboards just out of blocks of wood. Instead of doing like plies and stuff, I like would have like a 2x4. And I was just like, I'm gonna try and make a solid board. I'm like, I've never seen anybody do this, so I'm gonna do it. And I, took a couple of weeks to do it because I did it all no power tools, just chisels, and I got a few of them and they came out really good. And then same
All right,
time I was
hold
doing
on. We
obstacles.
gotta hold on, backtrack on this. So you
Yeah,
chiseled a fingerboard
yeah,
from a block of wood.
multiple. Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah, they're super light and they have amazing pop, and like I haven't broken one, and they're like same thickness as like a regular fingerboard. But yeah, try and drill this, go to my buddy's house and use the drill and to drill the holes for the screws and stuff because I like don't have any power tools here. Everything I do is like right by hand, like fully by hand. And so when I borrowed his drill to do that, it was like, okay, now I have a handful of these, and I had a few people online that were like that got me to make them some, and at the same time I made them a couple obstacles, and then that was that one day, yeah, Caden, me and him just met online and was like looking for a custom obstacle, and that absolutely changed the trajectory of what fingerboarding was and ever has been. Made me realize a lot about it, that like how much joy I actually have in it, and that like, oh, even though I'm 33, but like I still have most of my toys from when I was a kid, collectors, like action figures, GI Joes, all that kind of stuff. I keep everything, and this just seemed like another way for me to go dive into another way of collecting something that I really, really love, because skateboarding has always been my number one anything. And yeah, health changed, can't skateboard anymore. I haven't been able to skateboard for about 10 years. So this was the closest thing to filling that void. It has. I like in the middle of the night will be at my park fingerboarding around, and I get the same feeling I used to get on my skateboard learning and landing trick. And yeah, like playing Session and Skater Excel, like those are great and it helps, but there's nothing quite like doing it on a real board when you roll away and you feel that feeling, and it's just so it's empowering, and I love it because it's so independent. It's not a team sport. I'm a very independent kind of guy, so I like if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me. I don't like having the other people to be reliant. And so when fingerboarding, I went from being a collector to actually using them. And so the whole time, like 25 years, when I would collect the plastic ones, I never it could always not at all. I would always pinch the board and just make it do what I want and have fun that way. But then when I like saw that there was more professional side, I was like, oh, I should probably learn how to do this the actual way. And so that was a few years ago now. And yeah, I've been thankfully riding for your mom's favorite fingerboards for 2 years as well. I have my own pro model. It's pretty sweet. See if I can get this guy up here.
Okay, yeah. Shout out Caden. That's sick.
Yeah, and yeah, I'd really say that kid, that like that relationship with Caden, um, it sparked something artistically in me with just my art, but with fingerboarding as well, and just been growing ever since. It's, the love for it's been growing, and I never get bored of it.
Man, so I get the same dopamine hits. I've never skateboarded, so I couldn't really like tell you like the relationship between fingerboarding and skateboarding personally. But I know like whenever you land something that you've been kind of thinking about and you finally hit it for like the first time, like that hit of dopamine is so powerful. Like it's crazy.
It's really like it's incomparable to anything else. Like I've never had that feeling from anything else in my life. There's nothing that has given me that feeling. I was never into hockey. I played soccer for years, but even then, nothing was gave me that self satisfaction where it was like, oh man, like it just gave me a sense of confidence that I think I definitely lacked as a kid. I probably still do as an adult, but I think this kind of stuff helps for sure. I love it. I think it's something that I will definitely continue into my old age, and I'm definitely glad I transitioned from just collecting to actually like learning how to do it and how people do it. Because it just blew my mind before. When I'd watch people kickflip or nollie flip, I'd just be like, okay, I just write it off automatically. Like that's impossible. I will never learn how to do that. And then after putting in a couple of years and tons of hours, it makes sense. I think the direct translation from skateboarding to fingerboarding, just how like the mechanics work, is it's fairly similar, but fairly different. And I find that kind of fun too, because when I first started and I'd go for a kickflip, I would just do it how I thought it would be done on a regular skateboard or how I was doing it on a regular skateboard, which isn't necessarily the way that you do it on a fingerboard to make it work. So just learning all of those new things about it was really cool because it was like rediscovering my own favorite Treasure Island again. It was rediscovering something that or learning something more about something that I had loved before. But
All right, so what is your go-to setup? You had a pro model, so I'm assuming that you're probably using your pro model.
uh, for the most part, yeah, like I have my mod. Aiden's gonna kick my butt. I can't remember the name. He has so many neat names for all the different shapes, like mama. Oh, they're all mom related ones, like jokes. But for the most part, like 95% of the time, I'm riding a Your Mom's Favorite. I have my dash of like all my other ones, all the different brands that I like, and there are other brands that I really do enjoy, but I always find myself coming back to this brand. And I try not to be biased, but there is something undeniable about Hayden and his craft and what he does to like get just the perfect feeling board for me, at least. That I don't need to exclude. I don't feel like I need to try the other ones after it because I always end up coming back to these.
You
And
know, you got something magical right there. That's how I feel with
yeah,
I've been riding pretty much double joints now for about 2 or 3 years, almost exclusively, but I've tried like 30, 40 different companies and like they're all like, pros, cons, they feel good, they don't feel good, they're not for me, they are for me. But for whatever reason, like even if I switched off, I was riding Cosmic Inertias for about 6 months or so, and somehow just always kind of go back to that one that just feels the best to you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I've been playing around with some goo boards and uh, what else? I got some goos and beast pants. I love beast pants. They're great boards. Even some of like the broken knuckle boards, like the lower. I guess I don't want to say lower quality because they're actually great. But maybe the
I
more
guess
intro
a
ones.
lot of people are calling them, yeah, more entry level, I guess you would say.
Yeah, but I love those. And then like, I don't know all the other brands that I have. Helm or Hulm House. There's a few from Europe. Cactus out of Greece is really awesome. And then yeah, like trucks. I like Franken trucks. I'll like get a tech deck set of trucks and completely reshape them and change out all the bushings, bearings, so like everything. I'll even get the performance tech deck wheels and put bearings. I'll reshape them and carve them so that I can put bearings in them. And up until recently, those have been my like favorites. I love really soft wheels, really super grippy. And now I've got a really good relationship with Matt and the guys at Pipsqueak.
Okay, yeah,
And so he's been. I actually have a bunch of projects coming out with him hopefully over the next few months. We got lots of stuff coming together, lots of artwork for him, and
nice.
he sends me a bunch of stuff to try as well, all his wheels and different stuff. And since I've used his wheels, I've been hooked on the Pipsqueaks,
They're nice. I'm not
and
gonna lie. Shout out Matt.
yeah, they're nice. And yeah, like I like my Franken trucks, but I also like my dynamics. I really like, but I just recently got turned on to Obsius,
Okay.
and those are my favorite now for sure. The weight of them is so heavy. I love it though, and there's just something about how they feel that it's a little bit different than the way Dynamic feels. But the weight I think is what I like the most, and those have definitely moved into my top spot.
Well, I
So
know
I got
when
to switch them out.
they first came out, they had some production issues and stuff. And I know
Yeah,
they addressed it, they refunded, or they replaced almost everybody's like customer complaints and stuff. So it's like a company, customer service wise, like definitely top notch. I had a chance to ride them about a year ago or so, and they're not bad. I think I should definitely probably give them a try for myself now that they got all of those kinks and stuff out of the way. But I think
I
that
definitely recommend.
those are definitely some contender trucks now.
They're amazing. Like, and also just like the presentation of like how they come is so. It's not like anything else. Like they have
Yeah,
their
I've
own
seen
little
that
tin,
tin can type
and
deal.
yeah, and it's
Mhm.
got like all the extra bolts, and then it comes with extra bolts in case they strip. And just the boxes that the metal box goes into. It's like their presentation is so nice, and their, like you said, their customer service is uh, it's basically next to none. The buddy sent me a bunch of stuff for the upcoming event, and I was like, I've never tried Obsidian, so I got to try a set of them. I was like, how can I recommend them to people if I've never tried it? So I'm
Mm.
gonna try them out, and I ended up breaking a kingpin when I was just messing around. And he's like, oh, here, I'll just send you another set, and he sent me like 2 more boxes. And I was like, holy crap! Like you did not need to do that whatsoever, but they did. So I really respect companies that do stuff like that. And I'd say, like, I won't go crazy. I won't drop any company names here, but with our event, Fingers on Fire, that I'm doing later this summer, had a bit of controversy with a couple brands that were involved, and it was an oversight of mine. But I didn't really take into account that you have certain brands like Obsidian and Yellowwood and things that are doing they're doing things differently. You know, they're doing things that they're their own molds, they're their own ideas, their own designs, totally original, unique things. Black River, you know, they got their own thing, and then you have other companies that try and replicate those with lesser materials, lesser goods, lesser customer service. And I removed a company that was doing something like that from our event, and in turn brought Obsidian in, and just talking with those guys of being like how appreciative they were that somebody had seen, like, hey, I don't want this smaller company that's growing to be taken advantage of by a bigger company that has a bunch of money to copy their molds and sell them for half the price. And had I known that company was doing that, they would never have been involved. But after learning all that and getting them and explaining to them my mistake and whatnot, and getting a good relationship with them, it's been nothing but awesome. And I think that integrity is something that the fingerboard industry needs a little bit more of right now. It's little, people need to be a little less money driven and a little chilled out on that. But I do understand that there's companies trying to make a living and going to do whatever they can. But I try and support like the ones who I know are like, the true creators of like the Obsidian trucks. Like there's nothing like their design with the hole and
Yeah,
like how they
yeah.
do it that way. It's like it's very specific. And then you look at a Black River compared to others, like there's very specific things that they do that set them apart. So when it gets taken advantage of by other people, it's like, you guys suck, don't do that. So I
No,
like to try and
definitely.
see
I
it
feel that.
authentic.
No, you definitely did the right thing there. For those that are maybe trying to figure out what company's talking about, starts with an L, ends with an I, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Um,
Laffy Taffy.
yeah, so but anyways, let's talk about the thing before we talk about the new event, let's talk about the old event. So you did Fingers on Fire 1. Tell us
So
a
I
little bit
helped.
about that, where it's located, how that went down, like paint us a picture.
So that was basically the brainchild of just hearing of all these other events going on, and all of it basically I'm seeing on my phone and stuff that's happening, and none of it's happening near me. None of it's happening even relatively close to me. Like I think the closest there is a few things in Vancouver that were happening, and a couple things in Toronto and Ontario, and but there was nothing like Western Canada or anywhere near me. And a few buddies basically said, well, why don't you just do it yourself? Like, just host your own thing, dude. Like, see what the scene's like. So I partnered together with, there's a girl out here named Becca McDonald. She's awesome. She does a lot of work with the kids in schools, and she runs Skate More Girls, and does stuff with Strathmore Youth Group. And so, talking with her, we decided to book uh, a place at our local park and see if we could host an event. And it wasn't a contest, it wasn't anything like that. We just had a free barbecue, and probably at least 12 different parks were set up, and had a lot of sponsors just send us stuff so that we could basically show people the difference between a tech deck and a $30 minimum like actual fingerboard. And it was just to kind of see if we had a scene in Calgary or out here of people that were willing to even come. And it just so happened that the day we booked it on, there was like a little kid event at the same park. So we had tons of people come through, and parents came through, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we have tech decks at home," and And I would be like, okay, if you got tech decks at home, you guys need to check this stuff out. And so they check out the real stuff, and ended up a lot of parents like just getting them into it that I'm still connected with. Uh, First thing I did was is say, hey, get that grip tape off your tech deck, and here's some foam stuff. So if their little kid was playing and chewing on it, it wasn't hurting their teeth. And just doing little things like that at the event and handing stuff out made a lot of really good impressions on local people, local stores and companies and things. And yeah, it was awesome. We had people from all over come out, and there was no monetary incentive. Like we didn't charge anything for anything. It was just at the end of the day, we had a couple of raffles, and just tried to make sure that everybody that came went home with something. And we did that. That was our goal, and we did that. So then this year, we were like, we were definitely wanted to do Fingers on Fire too, but wasn't quite sure how or when it was going to happen. And then when like you guys with like the USA Fingerboard League was coming out and talking about doing events, and it was like, okay, I have an opportunity to link what I want to do with you guys, and once that window opened, it was just like a no brainer, have to take this opportunity. And yeah, I think it was just a really good precursor to let it be known that there is a scene out here that needs growth. It needs help. You know, Calgary does have a scene though, and Canada definitely has a scene that's definitely in a boom growing right now. But we need more events like this to help facilitate that. And I tried to line things up that we were going to do it in Calgary, like in the city. Just didn't work out. Yeah, it didn't work out that way this time, but just decided to do it right back at home, right in the backyard, go to the same park. Just booked a little bit smaller area of the park this time. So it's going to be like less parks, but higher quality. So we're going for a bit more of a refined event this time where, yeah, we'll have the same thing, like 3 barbecues and lots of parks to ride. And then we'll have the sanctioned contest with the prizes and everything. And yeah, I've got confirmation of people coming from as far as Ontario. Um, so that's huge to me, just to know that people from that far away are even interested in coming.
You pretty much have single-handedly put Strathmore on the map. And so when you're talking about fingerboarding in Canada, there's a little scene out in Vancouver. There's a pretty large scene out in like Montreal. There's a six skates with Toronto. And so like there's this big void in the middle of the country. And I feel like you're definitely like, putting Strathmore there on the map for sure.
That's awesome to hear, because that's definitely the intention, is, to say that we are here. We do have the scene. And, even if I do live in this small little hick town, it's like people came last time and they're planning to come this time. um, I anticipate that this event will be much bigger, like just because of the amount of advertising, and the reach of our advertising this time is a lot bigger. And at least we have a bit of a reputation from last time, that it people have faith that like we can run a successful event, and that we do have these great connections with these amazing companies that want to sponsor it. Expect nothing but good things for our next one.
So those who don't know, this is actually going to be a USAFBL sanctioned event. So he's got Fingers on Fire 2 going down July 28th. And then we've got Game of Skate, Best Run Street, and Best Trick Street being a sanctioned competition going down at his event. So for those of you in Canada who are looking to get in on what's going down in 2025 next year as far as regionals and nationals, this is a very good way to be able to get in, get noticed, collect some stats, get some rankings, get some cool hardware, and be a contender for, a regional event. So 2025 is looking really, really good. 2024 is looking phenomenal, and I am excited to be able to partner up with people like Brandon here, allowing, USFBL to grow, network, and also, build a scene in Canada. And hopefully, I'm excited about the possibility even entertaining like a Canadian fingerboarding tour sometime in the near future.
Oh, absolutely. Might have to become the international fingerboard league.
I know it's getting fingerboarding right now is in a very, very good spot. And I mean, as we continue to grow as a organization and we get more fingerboarders underneath, the just in the scene and more people getting introduced to fingerboarding and it grows, like I don't see any limits to how far this can really go.
And it's coming up in different places too. That like I've been watching YouTube and channels that have nothing to do with fingerboarding, and then there'll be a clip of some dude in the background like fingerboarding and doing stuff, and or they'll have a highlighted clip of somebody fingerboarding one of their friends, and it's like, oh whoa, this mainstream channel that has nothing to do with any of this is like highlighting this niche hobby, but it's definitely booming, and it's really cool to see. And like with the Olympics and like all the stuff Tech does with their relationship there and everything, I think it's all just positive for everyone. I think it's good news for big companies, little companies. I think it's good for everyone.
Yeah, I think that I think Tech could push us into the Olympics. Who knows? I think that if anybody was going to do, get fingerboarding into the Olympics, it's definitely going to be Tech.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I think it would honestly be something more like what you're doing that would be closer. They're like more collector size, and you're like I see USAFBL has like it appreciates the skill of the art and everything, and the skill of the hobby, and like the levels, the beginner, intermediate, expert, like all that. I think that you guys are probably more in tune with what that is rather than tech or something.
Oh, I
Uh,
appreciate
but
that. I appreciate
but it
that.
would
I
be
just say
cool
Tech
to,
as a because they're more on a global scale. So, they've got,
yeah,
writers and people from literally all over the world. And so they have a much more global effect than I would as I guess per
yeah,
se. So I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying though. We definitely highlight the competitive side of fingerboarding. And we still got a little ways to go, I feel like, before we can probably get into the Olympics for sure. I know that I don't even know when the next Olympics is coming around. I think it might be this year,
I
maybe.
think it is.
I don't
I think
know.
it is.
Leave me the year in the comments when the next Olympics is coming around. I know it's like every 4 years or so, and I feel like it should be like this year, but definitely for
Uh,
sure. I feel like
would
right
be.
now is a good time to do the next Listen to Win contest. So Relic Fingerboard, shout out Relic Fingerboards. They've got a set of this, I don't even know how to pronounce this. This is so like Italian, Visceria Red Unholy One wheels made by Relic Fingerboards. So these red Visceria Red Unholy One wheels, pretty sweet looking. I like these. We're definitely going to put a picture up on the screen for that. We got to give them a challenge.
I
All right,
think we can do.
so Brandon has come up with a pretty cool challenge. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, this is a unique challenge that has not been done yet on the podcast. So we're looking for a self-portrait drawing of yours truly, Levine Cunningham. The person that has the best self-portrait is going to get these set of red wheels from Relic Fingerboards. You can also find Relic Fingerboards at Relic Fingerboards on Instagram. And we're gonna give everybody a week. I feel like I need to give people like enough time to really put in the detail necessary to put
Yeah.
together a cool self-portrait. I also feel like if it's really good, I need to have it like blown up, printed, and like thrown in the back wall for sure. So
Oh,
whoever
absolutely.
wins this is going to get, the relic wheels. And then I also feel like I need to blow it up and like literally have it as a backdrop for at least an episode, highlighting the artisticness of whoever wins this challenge for sure. So you got 1 week, you got all the way to the midnight of Tuesday, the 11th. Check the calendar real quick. Yeah, so midnight, Tuesday 11th is the deadline. The best submitted self portrait who is going to tag USFBL, USFBL underscore FBP, tagging Relic Fingerboards. And of course, we've got to get Fidgety Digits FB 403 on there as well. So tag both USFBL accounts, Relic Fingerboards, and Fidgety Digits FB 403. The person that has the best self-portrait is going to get these wheels and get their art showcased on our channel. It's a
And
win-win. Let's get it.
I'll sweeten it even. Like a person who wins it, I'll do a portrait of them and send it to them.
Ooh, okay, okay. I like
Yeah,
it.
I'll do a nice gross one in my style and send them a custom piece.
I like it. No, that's awesome. All right, so people may not even know this, but you do make other you make products. Like tell us what you make.
So I make custom obstacles, all different types, banks, ledges, rails, lots of different stuff. But I also really like making the mini accessories. So how people with their fingerboard parks, they have like the dirty streets and the benches with the beer bottles and the ashtrays and the little magazines everywhere. Like I make that all like lots of that kind of stuff too. So I hand do everything, make has little ashtrays, and then um I like to get Thrasher magazines and skate magazines, and I'll cut out all the little logos and branded stuff, and I'll use those on it. And a lot of the time, like the Mastercard ads, or their logo is so small, so I'll cut the little thing out and then glue it to a piece of plastic, and then it's like you're making little credit cards that can rest on the table. And there's little credit cards beside a little pack of smokes, beside a beer can and chairs and yeah, little furniture. And we've even done like whole room dioramas like that. And yeah, benches and stuff. I've got quite a few of my benches out there, hand carved to look like stone. And they're like carved to look like they have been put together by stone. And they have like the nice rivets in it and stuff when you grind. Yeah, I do like that kind of stuff. But I'd say majority of what I do and give to the fingerboard world is the artwork, and whether that's like board graphics, yeah, new graphics like for stickers or logos or whatever like clothing. Um, yeah, that's my main thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Are you like locked under contract with any of these guys? Are you like a free agent where like if someone's like, hey, I don't know, I want a board graphic, but I don't know what it should be looking like, and maybe they can hit you up for some inspiration, or maybe you can design something. Is that something you can do, or
Oh
are you
yeah.
locked?
No, I am definitely up to working with anyone and everyone. The good thing is like I have my home base and my home little team, and that's your mom's favorite fingerboard. That'll always be my home base, but it doesn't mean that can't do things other places and with other companies. And yeah, I'm not locked in on anything, so I get to go wherever the jobs take me, and wherever people want original artwork. That's usually pretty gross, but
No,
it's
that's
fun.
awesome. Where can people find your products? Like, do you have a site? Is it on Etsy? Like, where can people?
I just got stuff on my Instagram. I need to set up something a bit more professional. It's something I need to do with my artwork as well, is to have the online portfolio so that people can look through, and then like if they find a graphic they like, they can be like, oh, well, this is associated with this company, and then a link to that company's website. But I haven't done that yet. So basically, just all on my Insta, I try and capture everything.
Fair enough, fair enough. So if you see something you like on its Instagram, that's Fidgety Digits FB 403, hit him a DM, be like, hey, what's up with this piece? I want that.
Yep, absolutely, anytime. And I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always up for if there's something there that you're thinking you want to create that's never been done before, we can do that. Or if you see something on there that you want the exact same thing, we can make that too. So there's no limits.
No, for sure. So did you mention you had team writers as well?
Yeah, so I actually have a little team of people that ride under the Fidgety Digits family. So it's not like I imagine one day I'll probably get into boards and stuff like that, but it's a pretty unofficial sponsorship where I'll do artwork for the riders that they ride, obviously for different companies. And so one of my best friends and like main riders is Josh Clark,
Stovetop,
Stovetop.
yeah, I know him.
Yeah, so him and his girl Cass, they're both on my team, and I'm like super close friends with them. but he rides for, but oh, I don't know who he's riding for now. And it was on Loose Nut, and he's got a bunch of he's got a list of sponsors. But part of my sponsorship is that when he goes to those companies, if he wants his custom graphics done a certain way, I will do those custom graphics and work with those companies he's associated with to make sure his stuff is all, custom to him and how he wants it. And if he needs something created or just needs an extra bit of support, I'll send him like little minis and stuff, and some of the hand carved stuff and bunch of random stuff. I just try and promote him and anybody that's on my team. I have Stovetop and Cass, his girl, Soul Skates, and then we have Jay Imes from Calgary. He runs Crab Fingerboards, and then Peter at Dumpster Diver. He's part of the family, and yeah, I just basically try and promote them as much as I can on all my different platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So whatever following or anything that I have, I'll push their stuff out as much as possible. Whether it's new video parts, board drops, obstacles coming out, or projects, I'll just try and encourage them. And I think that it really comes down to like less tangible things in that like we're all there for each other. Like we're there, like I talk to them about personal stuff all the time. They come to me with personal stuff. It's beyond the fingerboarding. It goes outside of that, and just being part of this team is just like an unofficial way to say, we're part of the same little tribe, the same little family that watches out for each other. I kind of think of it like Baker Boys Distribution is like the big house, and then they have Death Wish Volume 4, Birdhouse, and all the companies below it. I don't know what the entity would be, but then there's like Fidgety Digits, Dumpster Divers, Loose Nut, and Your Mom's Favorite Fingerboards. And even though they're all complete separate entities, it's like there's a family vibe in there with everyone, and a closeness with a bunch of the people in there it goes beyond the fingerboard borders, and definitely there for each other in real life. Eventually, I'd like to get into making boards. That would be ideal. But artwork keeps me pretty busy.
No, that's awesome. What I'm loving about what you are doing and basically just who you are as a person is like you are so like in touch with like the actual culture of fingerboarding and skateboarding. Like you're not like, you're trying to be like the best fingerboarder or the coolest fingerboarder. Like you're just like one of the most realer, like the most realist person like, I've met in quite some time.
Oh, that's cool to hear. I definitely try to keep my head level and stay grounded, and remember the things that are important to me, and stick by those things.
No, for sure. So I'm assuming that you've got like some upcoming projects. I mean, I know you got the Fingers on Fire 2 event, but I wasn't sure if there's anything that you may have kind of sitting on the back burner that you got cooking that, maybe you want to let some people know about.
I don't have any other events like coming up yet, anything unofficially or officially. But I'm sure that'll change over the next few months when we after this event and some more connections, like local connections, are made. I'm sure that another event will be happening. But I got a bunch of graphics coming out with a bunch of different companies, and something I'm really excited for is I've been working with Matt at Pipsqueak. And so with Pipsqueak, I get to work with Matt at Pipsqueak and Squirrel Nut as well, and then the new conglomerate Madhouse that they're doing. And so I'm happy to say that like, I have graphics coming out with Madhouse, and those are pretty sweet. I'm really excited for those to come out. And I just had some clothing graphics drop with Pipsqueak, so they're on their website. You can order like sweaters and shirts, and I got some artwork on there as well. We've got some new stuff for UMFFB coming hopefully soon. We've got a couple new faces are being added, I think, and so we're gonna have new graphics for them. What else?
That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
guess that's
Just
about it.
that
That's
within
about it.
itself is a lot. I'm like, holy cow, okay. Okay.
That yeah, like trying to get back like the tattooing and stuff as well. So I'm always like drawing. I'm always drawing and making stuff or practicing. Except I've had a bit of a hiatus the last few months, but hopefully after my health stuff gets figured out, I'll be right back to it with that. I miss tattooing. It's so much fun, and it's all just I find everything is all relative to everything else. Like the artwork on the fingerboards and tattooing goes hand in hand,
Yeah, it's all full
and
circle.
yeah, it's all just creating something new and trying to do something that hasn't been done before. So that's where I really like to do is like I guess only one thing. So for the contest we're doing Game of Skate, and usually like in Game of Skate they just have like the skate flipper where you flip over like the letters
Yeah.
and it counts your letters. So I was like, hey, that would be cool to make, but I want to make something that's never been made before. So I designed this thing where it's still in progress, so I don't want to show it yet, but it's basically going to be like two mounds of like bloody dirt and there's bones sticking out and there'll be five bones on each pile and you'll pull the bone out of the dirt and there'll be severed fingers with the letters stitched into the fingers, and so that'll be how you count your letters for SKATE. You'll pick a bone each time, and so the first one with five bones is the loser. But something like stuff like that is like I've never seen somebody do that, and like I want to make another one of a gallows. So when you pull the thing, it shows like a guy dropping through the gallows, and then your letter shows. And so I want to
Huh.
make something like that. But yeah, try to lean towards stuff that just haven't seen before or don't know. Don't know if other people are doing, and try to keep it original. There's
I
never a
love it.
shortage of there's never a shortage of like crazy things going on in my head. My mind is 100 miles an hour all the time. So there's no shortage. I have lists in my phone of graphics and things that I want to draw that if like a random person picked up my phone and looked through the notebook, they would be horrified. They'd just be like, what the hell is this? It is just all crazy graphic ideas or gross things. But yeah, about it. I say like I got the UMFSB, and then I got graphics with Huff, like A2FB, higher up fingerboard, and then Finga Deck, and then Pipsqueak, Madhouse, Shredknot. Shout out to Dom, the original Shredknot. And this new stuff I got coming out, we're going to try and correlate something actually with the day of my event with a company called Death Cult, and they're out of the UK.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool, and they got some really neat technologies with how they're doing things on their board.
Mhm.
So we're trying to see if we can correlate to do a special drop on the day of the event, and maybe they'll release something on their website, or you'll get a code at the event that gives you a discount or something at the website. But got there's one of my probably my most favorite piece of art that I've done this year is coming out with them. So I can't wait for the world to see that one.
Well, I
Yeah,
know that you probably got a good sized list of people you want to recognize or give a shout out to.
yeah, I definitely do. First and foremost, Caden Overholt at Your Mom's Favorite Fingerboards. Without him and Josh Clark, Stovetop, this this conversation wouldn't be happening. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. They've uh, they've done more than put wind in my sails. They've been able to help me go to heights that I never thought I could get to with my artwork or reachability with my artwork, and they've completely um, responsible for helping my confidence and pushing me to make this possible. They're amazing. Loose Nut, we got Chris over at Loose Nut. He's got a crazy mind of his own. I love him. He's learning to tattoo as well. So we got the fingerboarding and tattooing that we are always spitting back on. We got Peter Dweesi at Dumpster Diver, and then the whole team of total nut jobs at Dumpster Diver. I love all of you guys, but you're all nuts. Matt Rip, yeah, Pipsqueak, Madhouse, Swirl Nut. We got higher up fingerboards, and then Lewis over at Lit, Lost in Transition. He's been wicked support to me from the very beginning as well. Jay Iwies, or Jay Imes, sorry, from Calgary. He runs crab fingerboards. Just a high school kid doing his thing on his own. Um, Killing it though. He's started. I got a graphic with him that just came out, and he's been making his boards like they've significantly stepped up in quality. And he, for our contest, the best trick is built a. This is pretty cool. He's building a custom Wallenberg that to bring for the best trick contest. So
That's pretty
that's pretty
sweet.
awesome. And then a buddy I met through of his that I met through him, West over at Chip Off the Block, another Calgary guy that's making obstacles, but he's doing things that like nobody else is doing and doing obstacles in a way that is so unique and so high level that like you got to check it out. So it's COTB, yeah, COTB.FB, Chip Off the Block. TKTX Numbing, just they've been a really good support and sponsor of mine with fingerboarding and tattooing. But even with this event, they were like right on board to sponsor the event as well and sent me some stuff. All the guys over at Death Cult in the UK, you guys are nuts as well, and I love you tons. And then yeah, the Yuri Bombs team, Hank and TJ Shabiash, that dude rips. And I don't think I know anybody besides Josh that probably puts out more clips than TJ, but he is filming all the time, putting clips out and trying to light that fire under my butt. That's my problem is I need to film more. I have very limited footage out there, so I need to like get on that so people actually like believe I'm a fingerboarder because nobody will believe it at this point unless I put out some footage. But those guys, Justin Carl, Dum Dum Skate, that's a Calgary local as well, trying to make things happen. Vindo Slice. Vindo has been through hell and back the last few years, going through car accidents and learning to walk again. And man is walking and kicking butt and doing awesome. And he's just been nothing but a great support for me mentally and creatively. He's always had my back and he's just been great that way. Neckface, the artist, graffiti artist. I've actually been in contact with him a bit, and yeah, he'll like give me like little things on my artwork, which is like hearing from your favorite artist, like feedback is pretty cool. So thank you, Neckface. Zach Wolf at Trash Panda, Gutter Fingers as well. Gutter Fingers, you're nuts. The craziest graphics, all by hand. Love it tons. The Wheatland Youth Network, Strathmore Times. I'm going to be having an interview with the Times this week. And yeah, there'll be an article about the event. And then I'll be in the next newsletter as well. So that's just for, local Strathmore people, which is kind of cool. And then, yeah, everybody that's contributed anything, whether it was a good wish or sending me a box or anything for this last event and for this event coming up. Is it okay if I do another quick little list? I'll make it quicker.
I mean, spread the love. Let's get it.
All right. So a USAFBL is at the top of this list because obviously without you guys, none of this would be possible. But then we got ABC. You guys are killing it with the ramps. Lit, Blister, Bloob, Bone Shard, Curbed, Brain Drain, Broken Knuckle, Caramel, Loose Nut, Chip Off the Block, Death Cult, Doom Lagoon, EMA, Fathers, Fingerboard Canada, Fingerboard Connoisseur, Fingerboard 90 miles per hour, Gore. Okay, so Fingerboard 90 mile per hour Gore. This kid is so incredibly creative. He's making obstacles that are not like anything I've ever seen. And I like really horror stuff. And if you're into horror or anything gross like that, go follow him. And he's got ramps that have blood and guts all over it, toilets with hands reaching out of it. Like he's doing stuff different. We got Higher Up Fingerboard, Crab, Her, Dum Dum, LC, Obsius, Ledge Gloss Wax, Dumpster Divers, Skatemore Strathmore, Solemn, Squirrel Nut, Storm Riders, Subliminal, Peak, Unity Ride Shop, Yuck, Ink Addicts, Local, and Spitboard. And yeah, like I said, anybody else who's ever given me just a like on a picture or a thumbs up, it all means the world, and it's why I keep doing it. So thank you guys for supporting me and empowering me to, go forward with these events. I have major social anxiety, so doing this kind of stuff is like my events of the year. To have their support makes it possible.
I understand. Yeah, the putting yourself out there is definitely kind of nerve-wracking. It took me a while, even with this podcast, like putting yourself out there, stuff like that is nerve-wracking. So I definitely appreciate you taking that step, being brave and doing the thing for sure. And then for me, I've got a few shout outs as well. First off, if you're listening to this before anybody else, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for subscribing to our Patreon account. We have early access, we got subscription boxes, and so much more. Also, we're launching league memberships officially this week. So check out USAFBL.com. You can see all the people that have competed, their stats, their rankings, their medals, if they're sponsored, who they're sponsored by. Like, there's a lot going on as well. You can also join the conversation on our Discord as well. Brandon, where can people find you online? I know you got an Instagram account. Do you have like a YouTube, TikTok, anything like that?
Yeah, I got like an Instagram, the Fidgety Digits. I also have Puff and Break and BK underscore stigmata room tattoos. And that's all Instagram. And then I have Puff and Break on TikTok and at Fidgety Digits on Facebook.
And then
And
I'm going
before
to make it.
I just want to say thank you to my mom as well and my niece and nephews because they've always been, and my sister. They're been super supportive. And I just got to say thank you to James and Mabel and Adam. They light my fire.
Can't forget the fam. Yeah, I'll definitely have
Yeah.
all of those links in the description, so we'll make it a lot easier for you as well. And Brandon, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I was nervous, but super, super happy to have this opportunity. So thank you very, very much.
Same. I appreciate you being on the cast. Till next time.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.